So since the Gruesome Menagerie deck didn't really pan out, I'm gonna have to rebuild it. But I'm gonna revisit Dev's Mono Black Burn deck, and I'm gonna take this to the next FNM because my well, I don't want to say it was stolen, but my Mono Red deck, the one that I left in my Selesnya pre-release box, it was returned to the store, but they don't know where it is, so it's kind of weird. But I'm not really too into it. Like, it's, you know, it was only like $10 worth of cards, or probably even like $5 worth of cards. It was just mainly the sleeves. I had the clip sleeves, which are really nice, and those were like $8 a pop for 80. So it was like only like $20 I lost, but you know, I'm not really too worried about it. But I won't be able to play the alternating thing that I was going for. I was going for week 1 mono black, week 2 mono red, week 3 mono black, week 4, yeah. And then the next month I was gonna do potentially mono blue and then mono white, you know, kind of like that. But I think I'm gonna be doing the Planeswalker deck challenge, which that's gonna be coming up. I'll show you what that's all about. Essentially, I'm just gonna try and make a Planeswalker deck, take a bunch of those crappy cards in there, and then try and make a FNM capable deck to try and go 2 and 2. So, but anyways, so revisiting Dev's Mono Black Budget Burn deck. That card was, that deck was really good in the previous meta. I mean, it's not really good. It was doing well from what I've seen on streams, but I'm gonna revisit it, and I'm gonna show you kind of my mentality of the adjustments I'm gonna make towards my local Friday Night Magic meta. Okay, so you know, this is pretty consistent with the Vicious Conquistadors and the Vampire Neonates. Dev, he was playing with these 6 as his 1-drops. I'm actually going to step it up further. I'm going to include all 4 Pilfering Imps. I think it's just a good card that starts picking in for damage early. If you have 3 or 2 1-drops, that's okay. You can just start, you know, pinging in for, you know, 3 a turn with just the Pilfering Imp and the Vicious Conquistador. Another thing that's really cool about the Imp is that, you know, it is a 1-for-1. You know, after you see that they're playing their stuff, all of a sudden, you know, turn 3, turn 4, you can, if you have no other plays, you can sacrifice this, take their, you know, I don't know, their strongest card in their hand, as they're getting towards, you know, putting all their lands down, and they can't cast their big mana spells, because it's only a non-land card. You can get creatures and, you know, spells, or non-creature spells, so I think that's really sweet. So I'm going to include all 4 of those. We're going to go back to, you know, the standard Tattered Mummies. He's playing all 4. This card is just, it's kind of hilariously bad in a way. It's a 1/2 for 2 mana, but it does do 2 damage. So, and it's the true genius of this card is that it's so non-threatening that they just let it sneak in for 1 damage, and then all of a sudden, you know, with all the other burn synergy, if you kill this or you board wipe this, you're gonna be, you know, suffering. So I think overall this could potentially deal, you know, 3 damage, 4 damage in a game, which, you know, it adds up for a 2-drop. And if you draw it late, it's just a nice little blocker, and it can peck in for 2 as you block, chump block. So I'm going to include 1 Mausoleum of Secrets. This is just a toolkit utility card. You know, it's kind of like the Batman utility belt. You know, just we can pull up whatever we need at any time. And yeah, of course, it is based off of the number of creatures we have in our graveyard, but as you can see, we're going to be trying to flood, chump block, you know, take the removal spells, hopefully. They burn it on, you know, other things like the Skymarch Bloodletters. So, you know, we're only gonna play 1 of, just so at any time we can, you know, get anything that we want at any time in the game, because it is an instant speed, so that's pretty nice. We're gonna include 2 Walk the Planks. This is just good general removal, and I'm, you know, last Friday Night Magic with the Mono Black Menagerie deck, I really suffered from not having enough removal, I think, so I'm just going to include these 2 right here, maybe include even more, order some more Walk the Planks, but, you know, for now I'm just going to play with 2. I think Dev played with 6, he played with, like, Murders, I think Cast Downs and Walk the Planks, but yeah. So these 4 right here are the Skymarch Bloodletters, another card that's a really budget card, and the power level is really low, very similar to the Tattered Mummy. However, it does provide that synergy of the overall burn, where we're doing 1, you know, it picks in for 1, and, you know, it's a flyer, so it's a 2/2 flyer, which is like an alright rate. but it is annoying. So hopefully it'll eat removal, put a body in the graveyard for Mausoleum of Secrets, and if not, then we're just picking it for 2, and that's going to be good for our overall strategy, where we're just really trying to burn them slowly but surely. So, which is hilarious because you don't think these cards are threatening, but in synergy with all the other cards, it works pretty well, pretty decently. So, we're gonna include 1 murder. So this is kind of like the 3rd copy of Walk the Plank, but I only have 2 Walk the Planks. So yeah, it's just good general removal, instant speed removal. So we're also going to play with 4 Sword Point Diplomacy. So this is a card that wasn't in Dev's deck, or Strictly Better Magic's Mono Black Burn deck in the previous meta. But I think this is the card that we need to run 4 of alongside, the Skybarge Bloodletters. I didn't go with Arterial Flows just because I think there's so many Jumpstart cards now that card isn't as good as the previous meta. So I think playing with these 4 is just the way to go. By the way, someone went with Rakdos Burn with Sword Point Diplomacy and Risk Factors in my previous just last night in the Friday Night Magic Week 3, and they went 4-0. They went undefeated. So that's really cool. And that was actually the mono red player, that girl. So she loves burn. I'll tell you what. But yeah, so that's we're gonna play with 4 Sword Point Diplomacies. I think this is a card that he didn't even touch, and I think it's gonna be very applicable to our overall burn strategy. So I'm gonna play 4 of those, and yeah, we're gonna go back to the Fel Specters. I think this card is better with maybe potentially with Burglar Rats, but I'm not going to be going, I'm just going to be looking at the cards, the burn potential just in itself. I'm not going to be thinking about Fel Spectre into a, Arterial Flow into a Burglar Rat or something like that. I'm just going to be thinking about Fel Spectre, and, it's a turn 4, they discard a card and they deal 2 damage, it deals 2 damage and it starts pecking in for 1. It's a flyer, so, again, another one of those non-threatening cards, but all of a sudden, when it's synergized with all the other cards in the deck, it really pans out well for the burn strategy. It's like creature burn, And last but not least is the 4 copies of Chainer's Torment. Well, it's not last but not least, but the Chainer's Torment. This is another card that is just kind of a little bit slept on. It's really good, I think, if you flood out correctly 1, 2, and 3, and all of a sudden you hit them with the Chainer's Torment. So overall, with the burn strategy, I think it's really solid. And plus, when against control, they can't really necessarily punish you as much when it does damage to you, because you already have board control, and they don't really, they're still trying to stabilize. So, but against something like a burn deck, that would potentially be harmful. But just gotta risk it for the biscuit. And 2 Eldritch Reborns, because I think we just need an extra win condition. And this can take up to fairies. It can get the biggest thing in the graveyard. But I'm not going to be playing with the Vampire Sovereigns, and the reason being is because I think playing with the Vampire Sovereigns is a little bit too slow with the 4 copies. I'd rather just kind of flood out in the early game, start picking in for damage, really start putting the pressure on, and then capitalize at the very end with the Fel Spectre, the Chainer's Torment, and then the Eldritch Reborn. Just playing 2 at the moment. I have an extra copy in the sideboard, but yeah, it's just a nice little finisher. It synergizes a little bit with the Fel Spectre. We can do turn 4 Fel Spectre into turn 5, Eldritch Reborn. But this card is mainly just as a kind of like a top-off finisher. Or the end of a curve is the 5-mana slot. And I'm not going to be playing 4 copies. I'm only going to be playing 2, as opposed to the 4 copies in Dev's Mono Black Burn, which had 4 Vampire Sovereigns. The 5-mana 3/4 flyer, has the deal 3 damage to a target opponent, and you gain 3 life. So the sideboard, I actually had a really good time using 4 Duresses and 3 Kitesail Freebooters against the control matchup when I was playing the Gruesome Menagerie deck last night for FNM. Week 3, I was, in round 1 against Jeskai Control, I sideboarded in Duresses and the Freebooters, And I think that's really good for against the control matchup. And I also included the 2 arterial flows in here just as a sideboard card against control. You know, with the pilfering imps and you know all the hand hate. I think we can squeeze it in. You know, we'll see how this pans out. But you know, I was really liking these 7 cards against control. And the Phyrexian Scriptures, I'm gonna go up to 4 copies because I think, you know, with all the Golgari stuff, this is kind of the sideboard tech against that. Also clears all creatures, kills them all. You know, we should have a board presence at least to, you know, play this on 4. I'm not sure what I would take out for these. I would have to, you know, go through and write it down, what I would sub in and out. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of the most difficult parts of, you know, the sideboard is what do you take out. So I'll have to do that before I get in. It was relatively easy with the Gruesome Menagerie deck, but for this, with the burn deck, since all the cards have the synergy of burn, you still want to keep that strategy intact, but you got to find the right cards to take out. So maybe like a 1-drop or 2-drop for the duresses, or you know, maybe substitute out. I don't know. I'll have to write it down. See what's the best cards to sub out, and also include these 2 against the control matchup. Just for some additional recursion, this would be the 3rd copy of Eldritch Reborn. This would just be some extra additional burn. You know, if they don't have a negate or anything. So, yeah, that's my sideboard for right now for the mono black creature burn. Deb's deck that we're gonna revisit and play for week 4. If no one, you know, if my mono red deck isn't returned. I don't know what happened to it. I mean, they said that someone turned it in. It's just they don't know where they put it, so that's kind of weird. But that's okay. I mean, again, I'm not really. It was pretty cheap investment, so I'll probably just rebuild that deck, or I might just go and do mono blue or mono white, kind of complete the cycle. But I also kind of want to do the Planeswalker deck challenge, so we'll see how I'm feeling after week 4. But after week 4, I'll give you guys a report, the monthly report of my FNM results. You know, gonna be transparent and be real, show all my losses. I've been getting my butt whooped trying to, you know, play these mono colored decks, mono black and mono red. But you know, even though I'm getting my butt whooped, I still think it's fun, and it's, you know, it's an interesting challenge trying to, you know, build a deck that's not, you know, the top tier. You know, we're trying to sneak it in with a budget, you know, build. So, you know, I think that's a fun challenge, and, you know, over here I'm just really trying to keep it casual. I'm not like a mega spiky player. I'm not going to drop $100 on a deck or anything. I'm just trying to, you know, be a casual budget player for FNM. So, yeah, I'll give you guys an update report. It is week 3, so just one more week. I'm going to go into week 3 Magic League on Monday. Today is Saturday, and I'll record those booster packs, and yeah, I'll also include that in the compilation video for, you know, the FNM monthly results. So, yeah, hope you guys take it easy.